Fear seems to be a common subject, and fear is one of the most difficult things for the mind to understand. And so many try and intellectualize it by using so much methods and ways to try and understand it. And of course, it is the understanding that removes the potency of fear. Fear cannot be removed from the human aspect. The being knows nothing about fear. The being has nothing to fear. You can look at it like in a dualistic way, that there's a higher you and a lower you, human being. The human you will die. The human you is vulnerable. The human you has a mind. The human you has an identity. The human you appears to be divisive, appears to be separate, appears to be miserable, appears to be short-term, temporary. So the human you has every right to fear. But we can then divide the human you into two. Let's put the being aside. The being is infinite. You have to experience this. Your being has never had a beginning nor an end. Your pure consciousness is your pure being state. Your being state has no identity, right? But you know, or it knows. So the human that is affected by fear, it also must be divided into two. And this is what psychology and psychoanalysis and all this stuff do. The mind and the body are now divided into two. The body has a natural fear. It doesn't walk over the edge of a cliff. It contacts the mind. The mind says no. So the body really contradictory doesn't know how to be frightened. Like the wildebeest when the lions attack. The wildebeest don't run even when they hear the growl of the lion, because their body and their mind have not reacted to what is possibly going to take place yet. The wildebeest only reacts to movement, to confrontation, and then it runs. So the wildebeest body is just waiting its prey for the lion, and the wildebeest mind is active at that moment until the lion runs towards it. Oh, mind, go, body. We must leave the situation. So our human body is dependent upon our mind to protect it from nature, from natural elements of this planet. Now, everything is okay. We can live with that natural fear. But now the mind itself has been divided into two. Whereas the mind that protects the body and the mind that protects everything in the world around, outside of the body. My car, my garden, my farm, my clothes, my money. This fear is absolute deluded fear. To the body, absolute deluded fear. Why is the body feeling so stressful? Getting panic attacks, having palpitations. When this mind is now taken ownership of, as being responsible for my car and being scratched by some hooligan, and the body suffers. All of this is taking place where the being is observing. The being pays no attention. But it can be affected by that when you see your child being hurt, like you're affected. My poor child. The being is saying that about the human, my poor body. That's why the being sometimes exposes itself. My poor body. Why are you worried about all that stuff when I want to worry about my poor body that is suffering through unnecessary, man-made, invented fears? Each time we sit and we watch our television screen and there's some article about people being attacked or killed in other side of the world, and your mind is, oh, this is terrible. This is not human. This should not be allowed. You cannot, at that moment, decide or decipher which one is speaking. Is it the being state that's speaking? Or is it your ego mind speaking unnecessarily about things that do not affect your body, but is actually affecting your body? This is why we have serious illness. This is why no one is exempt from illness, because we have so much fear of loss on materialistic, artificial, temporary things that will, like your body, fade and die. The neighbor has taken 3 feet of my garden. My garden. And you start pacing around the house and you start worrying, how am I going to get it back? Who should I contact? I must get this solicitor. I want my 3 feet back. And this is our human way. This is what we do. But the association with something being taken from you and you not in the position to just take it back affects your mind and affects your body. The root of natural fear is I. And I is within. The root of God is I. And I is within. But we have now created a subsequent form that we think, that's not me, but it is. We have created a shadow that walks around in the world outside while you're inside with your body. And it's everywhere. It's looking everywhere for faults, for things I can change, for things I can act upon, for things I can control. The police is a perfect example. They're outside everywhere looking for things to resolve and solve and all that stuff. But that's their actual body. You're sitting at home and your mind is everywhere, like in every thought, trying to achieve everything in this subsequent I body. So the root of that illusionistic fear, that imagined fear, is I. I am the person. I am that what is going out into the world. I am that what is going to challenge. I am that what is going to do everything. I am that where I can be powerful. I can be help the world. I can be compassionate. I can be kind. I can be successful. I can be this. And you are sitting in your home That's the guilty party. That I that is out there. But out there appears to be a physical place. But this out there is in here. This is where the imagined fear stores, and this is where the panic attacks, the anxiety, the depression, and the stress are. I want to leave you with something very simple. When you were born, you were attached to an umbilical cord to your mother. Your mother did not create all your organs. Nature created all that within you, within your mother. You have two umbilical cords. The physical one was cut so that the human could be free. The being is never cut. Your invisible cord within is never cut. It cannot be cut. Nothing can cut it. So each one is still connected as one. When the water first took place on the earth, not that day there was water. And since that day, there has been many other forms of water. Rain, lakes appearing, floods, oceans rising. The new water that has appeared since that first day is that different water. Is that new water different water, or separate from the water that was already here? If you believe in God, you're just a reflection of God, a representation of God. If God is life in totality, you cannot be separate from God. You cannot be separate from your being. You go to the root of I. And that I is not out there. That's where you want it to be. I want it to go out there and leave me alone with my human mind and being state, without that personal vendetta against the rest of the world. That I can go, but that I cannot go by chopping your head off. That I can only go by letting it sink into the pure I, where the pure I just eats it up. And you're free. Free from fear. Free from that worry about if your house goes missing on the way home from work, it's going to be the end of the world. No. A new house will appear. No fear. Namaste.